Watermelon, the fruit of the watermelon plant, is a delicious summer treat. The melon has a sweet taste and a juicy texture. The bright red color of the rind is appealing to many people, and the bright white flesh inside makes it an ideal snack. The watermelon plant grows in the tropics and subtropics. The plant is easy to grow from seed and requires no special care. It can be grown in containers or in the ground. The plants are short and bushy and should be pruned every year. The plant produces a flower head that looks like a small sunflower. This head contains many tiny flowers. Each flower produces a pod, which contains several seeds. The seeds germinate easily and can be planted in the ground. Watermelon plants are self-pollinating. They produce a large number of seeds, so one plant will provide sufficient seed for many years. The watermelon is native to Africa. It was introduced into Asia in the 15th century. It was introduced into Europe in the 17th century and to North America in the 19th century. The watermelon was not cultivated in Europe until the 18th century. At first, it was grown only as a curiosity. By the mid-19th century, the melon had become a popular garden vegetable. In the United States, the melon was brought from South America by the Spanish explorers. The first commercial shipment of watermelon was sent from the United States to Europe in the early 19th century. Today, the watermelon is grown in more than 80 countries. About 90% of the world's supply comes from China, India, Pakistan, Mexico, and the United States. Mexico and the United States together account for about half of the world's production. The watermelon can be eaten as is or used in many ways. The fruit can be eaten fresh, cut into chunks and served with ice cream, or used in cooking. The rind of the fruit can be sliced and used as a garnish. The seeds can be roasted and ground into a powder. The pulp can be processed to make juice, jelly, and syrup. The seeds can be used in cooking and for making soap. The watermelon has been a symbol of wealth and good fortune since ancient times. Ancient Egyptians worshipped the fruit and believed that it would bring them prosperity. The Romans and Greeks used the watermelon as a symbol of fertility. In ancient Rome, the watermelon was given to newlyweds to symbolize their future happiness. The Chinese have used the watermelon as a metaphor for the female body and for the female gender. In China, women who have not borne children use a watermelon as a substitute for the male phallus. In the Bible, the watermelon is mentioned in several passages. In the book of Isaiah, the prophet foretold the coming of Christ. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And he shall build the temple of the Lord, and he shall bear the glory, and shall sit and rule upon his throne. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. Isaiah 11 verses 1-4. In the New Testament, Jesus told the parable of the talents to his disciples. He said that the person who had been given 5 talents invested them in 5 different ways. The person who had been given 2 talents invested them in 2 different ways. The person who received 1 talent invested it in 1 way. Finally, the person who did not invest the talent at all lost it. The point of the parable is that each person invested his talents according to his abilities. The watermelon also appears in the book of Revelation. In the vision, John saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast. The woman was dressed in purple and scarlet, and she was crowned with gold and precious stones. She held a golden cup in her hand, filled with abominations and filthiness of her fornication. She had a golden cup full of abominations and filth of her fornication. The woman was drunk with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. The watermelon may have other symbolic meanings. It is sometimes called the queen of fruits. It is also known as the queen of vegetables.